Um, will be fairly quick meeting tonight, but it's mostly just to get everybody to to get to know each other and go from there. So to start off, I'm John Beller. I'm the president of the Teton Valley Parks and Recreation Board. Uh, been on it for years. We're learning what we can do since the district's been put in place. My background is an engineer by training and worked about 40 years in mostly environmental work, cleaning up messes, and did a lot of NEPA and things like that. So, and I'm an avid skier and outdoorsman and things like that. So,
doing this for a year now. And an architect. My background is operations management and maintenance. So, I kind of, and basically, my priorities have been, working with the government agencies, prioritizing needs and maintenance. It's been 10 years since really anyone's focused on rec for the valley. And just gathering more input and getting.
even before Matt was on, we had desires, and so he is greatly appreciated in helping.
Yeah, I can introduce myself. I'm Dylan Kelly. I live in Victor. I've just been really excited about the potential of the Parks and Recreation District. So I'm really excited to contribute. My professional background is in working for mostly electric utility clients to deliver their advanced site management programs. So but I'm really excited to contribute here.
Professionally, I'm an operator. So that's what ambulance or fire truck as a firefighter here in the county. But yeah, also very excited to be involved and yeah. I'm Tony Terlizzi. My day job currently, I'm the events manager. Nonprofit management for the government for a little bit too, but really excited to be involved with this group of people. Here and the ones that
First, I am the program and outreach director for Mountain. So I do a lot of youth programming in both seasons. Youth program. Excited to, be a part of this and all the cool growth that's happening in the valley. Victor, we're well represented.
Yeah.
The west side.
We're out in Bates, yeah. Occupational therapist, I work at the hospital here, also. A little bit over in Jackson. Especially our older population here, because we have a huge older population here. I'm also a mother, so background before I went into OT was in parks.
Nice.
I'm Teddy Nichols. What kind of happening to Jace? T-bomb. And I work for Teton County Services for 13. And then more recently had a kiddo and didn't want to do that commute anymore. So I'm now working as the association. And yeah, I'm psyched to be a part of this. Avid outdoors recreation is my passion. It's why I think a lot of us live here and contribute. Victor, director. I have a serious life as an architect and a husband and father of 2 children. So, just kind of excited to have.
I'm Ray Landon. I was a founding board member of the ballot initiative in front of all of you.
Horse enthusiast, been in the valley almost 20 years doing that. And I've been a 4-H leader, 4-H board of Teton Arts, chair of the committee for excited about Parks and Rec is finally here. It's been a while. Back in 2009, so I'm excited to see like the new era with Parks and Rec in mind. How it's changing.
Advisory committee, but I am here to talk about the Parks and Rec master plan update that we're doing. So I work for Harmony Design and Engineering, and we're helping you guys make that plan update. Harmony did the original one in 2014, so we're starting from that platform, and then hoping that you guys will be our main source of like accessible information, and there'll be a variety of like. So hopefully, yeah, we'll be working together a lot for the next like 6 months or so to do the bulk of the background work. And then after that, I'll be like, help me with that. But hopefully, yeah, we'll do a bunch of.
Cool.
Yeah.
So
Got a couple of people.
here we go. Let's see, Unity.
Hi. Sorry, my internet's kind of weird. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, we've lost you. Yes, now we can. You're kind of popping in and out, but
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it's not working very well. So I just joined. Nice to see all of you.
Or you could try turning the video off.
yeah, turn your video.
Turn my video off. Hmm.
Why don't we go to Katie while you try to figure.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yes.
Is this working
Okay.
better?
I'm sorry?
Oh, I'm just seeing if this is working better.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I hooked up to the right Wi-Fi. Okay, so I just joined. What are
A
you
little
guys?
jumpy, but
Oh, sorry. I can just sit in the background and listen to you guys. Hmm.
trying to figure this out. Go ahead, Katie.
Yeah, mine's kind of,
Katie?
sorry, hello?
Yes.
I'm trying to find a good spot with the Wi-Fi. I'm driving right now. Well, not driving right now, but I'm in Mesquite, Nevada. I'm heading to go visit my parents down in Tucson. So I still wanted to be able to part of this meeting and introduce myself. I'm Katie Bradbury. I just got hired on with the district back in October. My background is in all things community recreation. I have a bachelor's in outdoor recreation, a master's in recreation management, and I've worked for seniors, youth and adult sports. I've been a coordinator, a specialist, a supervisor, just kind of all things recreation. I love anything that has to do with community development, community building through rec, and making sure that what I can provide is something that's equitable for everybody and ways that an entire community can jump into recreation. So that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Thanks, Katie. We got most of that.
Yeah, I'm in a
Unity.
McDonald's parking lot right now trying to jump on their Wi-Fi and it is not letting me.
Yes, Jim. Unity.
In summary of Katie is like, it's shocking how her background is so perfect for what we're asking her to do. I didn't know such a person existed and this sort of Sandpoint, and I think is the last place she was doing. Realize that.
Okay, Unity, you got to give one more try.
Okay, am I still glitchy? Sorry, guys. My name's Unity and I live in Driggs and I'm just
Would you
really
like to talk?
What was that?
I mean, another option. If you turn
Sorry, what was that? That cut out.
sometimes if you turn your video off, it'll help and we can hear you.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me try that. Sorry, guys. I don't really. Okay. Turn. Is that better? Sorry, you guys keep freezing too.
Maybe not.
Yeah.
Well,
Is that better for you guys or?
It's still kind of.
her um, her kind of passion is in open spaces and parks and things like that. I remember exact ground is Unity.
If you guys can hear me, I have a bachelor's degree in environmental resource management, and I am very passionate about open spaces and recreation.
We'll,
And oh, sorry, am I cutting out again?
we'll keep.
Let me try something different. I'll hook up to a different Wi-Fi. Let me try something. I'll call back in a second.
Okay. It's moving. I think if move Allison up front because she said
I did print out a copy. I know some people just like to. This is a really, really brief introduction to the work that we just started this project like a week ago. So would be like pre-kickoff, just really excited to meet you guys and see that engaged to be doing work. A lot of the times I do planning It's the same 5 people, so it's really exciting for us to have a bunch of folks here who want to produce content for this plan and make it for showing up. That we have now is an of what we need based on public input and, any kind of rates or other national wide organizations that do recreation master planning. So we'll kind of devise a needs assessment in the plan, basically, right? What we should build and what we should focus on developing programs and facilities wise. So that would be parks infrastructure, but also public access infrastructure, areas to focus on as far as like groups of people, underrepresented groups of people, typically in this valley are Hispanic, Latino community members, seniors, school children, people living with a disability. So if there's any other ideas that you guys have about potentially underrepresented or historically under, and make sure that we represent that in our plan. As far as public outreach, we will try to do results. It's really difficult, as you guys all know and can imagine, to reach. But we'll do our best, and we've got a lot of strategies to access as far as just like contacting people, but also ideas of where to find folks and where we should be asking people questions. So that's a big part of what study advisory teams can help with. You guys all are like fingers into the community in your own little special interest areas. Is going to be really fun. Yeah, so that's what, like I mentioned, hopefully we'll get the bulk of this. And we'll probably start out with public outreach like pretty soon here. And we'll also start building the inventories pretty soon, like now, and do those things kind of simultaneously. So what I have on this memo is a report by the end of the year, basically. And I think that about rec district's goals to have some substantial information by mid-August for budgeting purposes. So that's kind of why we were focused on getting public outreach and the needs assessment kind of done by that time. 3 meetings with you guys on this schedule where I would have tasks. Produce content for the plan or to review and validate the information. Other opportunities for you guys to get involved in between those meetings, like I might send out and then because this is so preliminary out, there will be more information about what I might. And then the second part of this memo is a really preliminary consists of a town hall to present the findings and the draft plan. Open houses. I think we'll get a lot of traction with the community, but the online surveys and stuff have been way more effective in getting responses. Important because some people do really want to come and talk to you, but you might, get 30 people, which is great, but it's, you might get reserving big spaces and standing around for a couple hours for like 30 people. In addition to those two big town halls, we might do a specific, go down to anywhere else that you guys, that we all come up with for a really good spot to intercept people to get them to fill out the survey. And that's a really useful way to access groups that we know aren't going to fill out the survey online. Where to reach those groups that talk to 10 or 15 people is Troy strategy. And then the rest of the survey would just be online, and we would promote that in every way that you guys know about now. Page. As far as what those surveys will weeks, and survey will probably be really general. You recreate, what do you do, and what would you like to do? What do we, whatever they feel like. So there's no like leading questions, and there's no specific things that people are, I don't know what that means. You just like, what do you want? And then go through all the results and find out a lot of interesting information. And then the second round will be more specific usually. That makes sense. And then the last part of the memo is something that we can all participate in. Of those groups built from them, and then the second two groups of words like activities and what their desires and the other day. So there's, even since I've made this list, we need to include such and such, or we need to make sure this recreational that's what unfortunately, I realized when I was driving over here, I don't think I put my email on this memo, which is unfortunate, but my email is AL at you all can just what recreational groups and what sports and which activities, and then also those historically underrepresented groups of folks.
Allison Dodd.
AHL and harmonydesigninc.com.
I think the solution to getting people to come out is putting something really controversial up.
Yeah.
So I think just to throw it out to the crew, should we take over Tardy? I think we should. Tardy, yeah.
In danger of, offending the Board of County Commissioners or something. We can be just completed the Safe Streets for All plan for the county we did over the last year, and trying to get people to fill out that survey. I made one poster that said something like, and fill out the survey or don't complain. And then they didn't let me use that. So. You drive on the highway? Any fun things like that, we should definitely try to include in our public outreach, but it doesn't need to be 100% copacetic. That's true, yeah. We could say that we're disbanding the rec district. Something in recreation. But that's really all I have for you guys tonight. I do have to jet, unfortunately. But I really would love to hear from you guys if you have ideas of the thing about the this plan together and what we need to include in it, what things we don't want to miss. And then as it becomes more material, then I'll clear a bunch for the next few months.
Has everybody had a chance to look at or had access to the existing recreation master plan at all?
It's on the county website.
Way too much.
Yeah, Ray's seen it way too much. We can make,
It's on the county's planning and building department plans.
Our website.
Yeah.
Yeah, your website's probably way better than the county website. I don't think it needs to be we'll have new content to put in there as appropriate.
It'll help you understand what kind of work on it.
It's on your site now.
Okay.
It pulls right up. I've had problems opening it on the county site.
Yeah.
I ended up saving it to my hard drive because it wasn't working.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing I was saying to John in our last meeting is that I read a couple reports about how to use public access and recreational facilities and parks for disaster response. So partnering with EMS and and we have a countywide all hazard response plan. But anyway, that's just something that I haven't done before, and I think it'd be a really cool thing to put into this plan to look into, and then also incorporate into our
Do you have try to get this group together to get
for
that
my purposes?
Yeah.
I don't have any, I mean, I personally am available most days. I don't have.
Well, I'm just thinking of when you're thinking the next 2, 3, 4 weeks.
On this preliminary schedule, I have like kind of a month. And then like right after the first round of public outreach is finished, so maybe mid-June. And then we could go over the first round of public outreach together and discuss what we discovered, and then maybe formulate what questions we should be asking in the second round of public outreach. Meeting would be in August, where we could discuss the draft needs analysis. So, and that to validate that or to, poke holes. That kind of thing. So, yeah, the end of this month would be, a couple more weeks would be good for us at Harmony to figure out more of a detailed work plan and a first draft of our first survey. So does that sound good to you guys? Whatever it is the day of the week for y'all?
It just sort of depends for.
Right.
The second Tuesday of the month.
But this committee they can just make that decider. Yeah.
And how often is this group gonna meet?
Well, at least as many times as you suggested.
I mean, that's 3 on here.
Yeah.
But we can add more. It's just, we can have more meetings for the planning purposes, or we can do more things like, dispersed online. Yeah.
Yeah, the one thing is, I think the conflict of interest documentation and stuff. So all of our meetings are required to follow Idaho open beforehand, and everything's so we always need to keep that in mind as we're moving forward. So later, when we move down the list here, we're going to let you guys decide who you want to be your chair to kind of lead this, because we kind of want to give this stuff to let you help kind of build it, not us overly influencing you. That's the way I look at it. Is we want to get your input and not be saying, hey, you should be going wrong when we get it in, but we still that's kind of where we're at there.
Well, that sounds great.
Any more questions for Al?
Well, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun. We're gonna learn so many things.
Yeah, so the other, big effort, and one of the things is the board ourselves, we need to kind of, we'll kind of in the near, we've got last year, let me back up one step. Most recreation districts in the state of Idaho, Blaine County was established to develop the River Valley. A Jerome was established to build a develop it. None of that. No guiding of this is what we want. The kind of the or to the putting it on the ballot was to pursue to try to look at investing in things that could reduce future costs and keep costs down, things like that. And so last year we gathered the cities and the county and as many nonprofits together to kind of get an idea what their needs were. And we developed, threw all those in a bucket and mixed it around and came up with a budget. Now we're kind of to the point this year, and feel free to pop in here, you two guys, that we're frame, we've learned a lot of thought a year or 2 years ago that we could do, we really can't. And one of the ones that really was brought to our attention for scholarships because we thought that seems like a good thing to do, help kids be able to participate in different sports if they couldn't afford it. State statute doesn't allow us to do that. So we quickly pulled that out. And what we've learned really is that facilities, type, we can build facilities, we can operate facilities, we can rent facilities, and such like that. The one area that there is specifically spelled out is for swimming lessons. The statute allows that, so there could be direct funding to those things. But joint powers agreement with the city of Driggs, which on this document. We're pursuing the same with the city of Victor, the city of Tetonia, and the county of Teton to try to get those same kind of say Primrose Park. There's something we want to do in Primrose Park. We jointly own that, so we can do that. We can run programs in facility. That's kind of one of the new things that I have in that. So
been very specific about is they own their park, they own their rodeo grounds. These facilities together, and within the cities, it's going to be very of coming up with a comprehensive plan, which will be included in our um, ownership and the people that live within the cities. I live outside in the county. I've never lived within the city. But looking forward to, kind of paying my fair for everyone to enjoy the whole valley. But yeah, that ownership piece, that's particularly important to Teton. So I don't,
term then yeah, Sarah probably is, so yeah.
What the JPAs do set up though is a joint powers board in each of those instances. And it seems like we're getting with everyone is a 3-person board, one of the 3 of us. If it's the city of Victor, someone from town council, and then a 3rd person at large. So each of these JPAs, I don't know if you've identified anybody for Driggs yet. I'm starting to put the call out around Victor. This is another sort of volunteer position that's going to be needed. We can ask if you could be on both, but that's kind of how it works. Is this joint powers board is formed, and then they're the ones that are sort of making sure that both Parks and Rec and each municipality is sort of fully up.
And so this year, we're trying to get the rec, I mean, ideally, we would love to have the updated rec plan in our hands, because that would define our priorities, and we can just go down the list and say, hey, here's where we need to invest our money. But even though they're going to try to get as much information as we can, one of the things I think we'd like to see from this committee is helping us define those priorities as things we really need to focus on here in the valley. That we can work on to help populate our budget for next year. And that the end of August. The 2nd week in August. Budget out to the public 2 weeks prior. We really want things in place by the 1st of July, kind of having an idea of where we want to put our money. I think it's going to be a little bit easier this year because we're ahead of the game a bit, but I think that's an area we really, I think, want your guys' support here, is helping define those things. And we'll kind of, I think, try to work up some, I don't know, kind of guidance and maybe help us get there.
Yeah, I think the overarching piece of guidance, correct me if you like, is like 5-year plan, raise the equivalent baseline of all of the existing parks and recreation infrastructure in the valley. Each of us probably has something in the 10-year plan, converting a grain elevator in Teton into a world-class climbing facility, indoor climbing, whatever, right?
Teen center, I think is what they were. But
yeah,
something cool.
Big shiny thing is definitely that far off in our mind, and really, or my mind, I'll say, in terms of there's so much need across the valley for financial support already. We don't want to be creating new need before we're addressing that.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, is taking care of what we've got now. I mean, last year, we had people coming with us, wanting money for capital projects and stuff. And it's like, probably not. We got to take care of what we got and get it up, working in good shape and such. So feel free to ask questions here, guys. This is supposed to be
I think we could share the state statute. It's only like a page long. I find it weird constantly kind of rereading it, right?
And then getting our legal advice from our lawyer to read it.
That does just govern so much of what we can do, right? Like, next up for us is maybe, and this one's not as clear, I think, to me, but we're starting to engage with Teton School District. What would a JPA with them look like so many of the different programs you and you know is really helpful, but also we can't place. So that's when John kind of talks about backing up the months and months, it's just,
Suddenly it's
the public
August.
process. We are going to be without a finished comprehensive plan by the time we need to set this year's budget. So in many ways, we're looking at you guys to have us like write the rough draft early. And yeah, there'll be some clarifications from Allison on the work that they're doing. It'll be much more detailed too, but we might have the cliff notes from you guys in terms of, hey, this is our opinion of the budget or the balance of needs, let's say, and we can apply the budget to that.
Yeah, and I think, thinking kind of two things. One is be wide open, think of different things. I met with the Forest Service this morning to try to figure out how we can work with them. And, we're pretty limited to, I think the county in Idaho, they have needs across the border, but maybe there's things we can do with the Teton Parks and Rec District in Teton County, Wyoming, and maybe work something there so we can do some trades. So I guess what I'm saying is think creative, try to think that. The other thing is think about different cost sharing options. So I think what we want to be doing as much as possible is taking the money, the taxpayer dollars we have, and multiplying those as much as possible with other people's money, with other grants and opportunities there. So if we can, as you're thinking about anything, if there's potential cost sharing that can be done, grant matching, things like that, I think that's a really good to help us, take. It seems like a lot of money we have, but it goes pretty fast. And so if we can make that go farther, I think that would be a thing to think about quite a bit.
So yeah, that statute is Title 31, Counties and County Law, Chapter 43, Recreation Districts. And essentially it dictates everything from how it got on the ballot all the way up to getting directors on board and how long their terms are. It even, says the main thing I think that we're looking at is the 31-4317, the powers of the district. I mean, Idaho State website's actually really good for looking up statutes, and it makes things really clear, but I think maybe the internet's failing in this building tonight.
Maybe that.
But it's not opening right now, but the powers of the district really outlines what we can do. And so if you guys get a chance to look into the statute specifically, it'll give you guys a better idea of what we can do now and in the future, as far as if we need to create bonds or levies, or hopefully not. I mean, for me, I would love to create some revenue through some of our opportunities that we already have, get things like that where we can generate revenue.
You mentioned you're on the aquatics board.
I am not on the
Oh,
aquatics
did I
board.
mishear
No.
that?
No.
There's something brought up.
Yeah. Discussed or you want a pool or you want this. And the reality is, from Teton Valley Aquatics put together facilities somewhere around 20 to $30 million, depending on what you've got in that thing. If we were to build a big capital project like that, it would really require us to set aside our money for, 16 years or so. by then the cost of that facility would probably have doubled. And so you just can't get there. And so if something like that is going to be built, it's going to have to be built through private funds and donations and such. The rec district could help provide operational fundings or equipment and things like that. We're actively pursuing ourselves. Teton Valley Aquatics is, on a separate note, they are working with the YMCA at the potential of putting a YMCA here in the valley. And there's there's a lot of good benefits associated with such an organization there too. So, yeah.
What is the rough?
8 million last year. Yeah. Percent. So that's one of the interesting things that people back in 1993 statute set the big current after that it can only increase. How many of you people are here? But when I was here in 1993 and grew up in Idaho Falls, there wasn't much more than farmland here, a few other things. So since that time, that budget, and that can only increase 3% every year over time. There's a little bit of adjustment associated with new construction, but it's not based on all new construction. In that time frame, the value of property in this valley is now over $8 billion, which is almost the same, and I think I'd heard one time higher than Bonneville County, with a population order of magnitude greater than ours. And so that's, I mean, from a county standpoint, that's when they always start, the commissioners go, we can't fund, everything, all this growth, but the growth isn't funding the infrastructure requirements. So we're also still, we have that same. So in what the property taxes should drop over time because it's spread further. So that 3% that's in. Yeah, about 1.8 million.
And that was a cap of last year.
Yeah, after our first budget.
Action would have been applied to an assessed value of 2025 or 24, whichever one. Whereas in the
yeah, the 0.0, what was the number, Ray? I can't drop it. 0.028%.
our budget cannot increase by 3% every year over, but it was set in the first year by the mill rate, I believe is the term.
Yeah,
that was proposed and voted upon.
Yeah,
And that mill rate is applied to the assessed value of property in the county.
2025, yep.
In 2025.
Yep.
But the example you're giving in terms of work with property taxes, that value set in 1993 when it probably felt really high at the moment, and it continues to not sort of keep up because it's capped at 3%.
Yeah.
And we're going to face the same thing here.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
in some ways, we're flush with Parks and Rec dollars relative to the
because of the time. Yeah, I think Jana Rankin was involved in an effort to put a Parks and Recreation district here in the early 2000s, and I think their rate was like almost the maximum, which is 0.6%, and the total they could raise was so that now sets our budget and our increase there. So if you're keeping with inflation, if you're lucky, that's about all you're doing. So that's where the being able to use money for matching funds and things like that can help. Is Sarah alluded to, things we can gather fee generating things like that are helpful to help build things.
are those parameters set through, I mean, I haven't looked at this statute, but are they set in that statute? When I think about, joint cost share agreements as being like a really powerful tool, what that might look like for us to put some of that to work.
So the revenue, and we can have more percent. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
All of the put-ins on the river, and then there's a, say, 50-cent fee in addition to these funds.
Yeah,
Except for we can't charge fees on the river.
Okay.
That's a whole separate thing, like, the river is very complicated.
put in the parking, the county owned
Fees.
park. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot going in, so this plan, understand the different ownership. Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I think one single thing we own.
We build and operate facilities and then they run programs, but right now it's a new department. So, yeah. In facilities and then help those facilities better,
Yep.
depending on the needs assessment. Yeah, like grow different facilities, but every facility in town, like the Driggs Park, that's through the LDS. The shrimp park. So we're just like looking at how.
Yeah.
Struck my head.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Taking up a year.
Yeah, you did that. And then. Yeah.
I looked thoroughly looked at the master plan that I think was from the early 2010s or whatever.
Seen it, yeah.
Okay. But is the plan with the new master plan to kind of be a 5 to 10 year master plan, or?
Yeah,
what's that?
yeah. So, kind of the way the original plan was set up is, had short-term, 5-year, 10-year, kind of long duration planning. And with the idea that that master plan would be updated on a regular basis. It hasn't been updated. And so, yeah, I think, getting it updated and then identify those, what can we do next year? What can we do in the next 5 years, next 10 years, and start thinking that out? Because what really rec facility and all that, and how do you get there? And so those wants and needs, I think as a rec board, even if it's not something we're going to directly pay for, if we can help figure out how to facilitate those needs and help make it happen, I think that's a good thing if that's what the public's driving and wants.
Makes sense.
Yeah. You're looking like you.
Thinking. With towns and counties and everything to work on infrastructure that's already there. Is there opportunities for other organizations to come in and put in requests for funding? Or like, not for us to put a grant out there to people, but if some. Interesting, because that's what I. Is that something we'll do, is just give out money to other organizations, or is it all stuff that
Yeah, and that's a tough one. And that's where the joint in the counties, because in the school district, it's easy for Matt to get a hold of the superintendent and get the school district. That was very good of you. On the power he has. But but once you get outside of those municipalities, it becomes a little harder.
Yeah.
What are our opportunities? How can we try to do our legal counsel and say what we
Looked at the alternative things, like you think you that teach kids basic riding skills in Sherman Park, which is a shared facility. Your program.
Yeah.
So great cities in the county are putting that out. Forest Service, BLM, Fish and Wildlife. That might be the next directors in 4 years.
we want to get there sooner. We want to get those mechanisms in place. Yeah. Yeah.
Alternative
Yeah.
I also think something we've done, correct me if I'm wrong, is just writing letters of support for people. We have like a form letter for that yet or not, but we might. Probably that way. I don't know how much weight that carries, but it's something we can.
Say, while we're not able to help financially, we do support their ultimate goal, and here's how it like works with what we're doing and being able to offer some valley trails and pathways, advanced and yeah, lots of helping. I mean, so for example, they were trying to get an agreement with them, but it's like, well, what are you doing at the parks in town or with the county? Is there somewhere we can help you with that to offset costs here? So you. Johnson.
Yeah. Other thoughts, questions, concern, ideas?
With our rec department and stuff, and also just us brainstorming, like what would be some things that potentially could build revenue programs wise. And I don't know, similar. There doesn't know.
One you can think about, and I don't know if this is a good model for here at all. Or that their trails and permit with the Forest Service. So it's a ski area. Basically, they own the Galena Lodge and they maintain those trails there. And so to use those trails, they can charge a fee because of that program they have set up. Similar to Grand Targhee, they have a permit to run a ski area there, so they can charge a fee. Teton Trails and Pathways, though they groom on the Forest Service property, they can't even put their signs up there, which is really drives me crazy. And they can't charge a fee. I mean, they ask for people to voluntarily. Yeah.
And that's what it's what it's gonna be on the river too, is there's our camp host, guys at the boat ramps, And they're working with Fish and Wildlife to basically put QR codes up as donations. They can't charge fees for those sites because, like I mentioned, they're funded through licenses. They have to do a pretty significant upgrade at those sites to be able to charge fees above and beyond what people are paying for their licenses. The county owns Bates, so technically the county could charge a fee there, but they're trying to keep it consistent against all the launch points or.
They just push people to those other.
And so, if that comes through this year, I think that was something we were gonna help support, maybe some funding for the signage and things for them. Once we get that JPA in place for Bates to be able to do any of this. Yeah, it's all gonna be donations. It's not gonna be a fee you have to pay.
I have a question about thinking back to the open house from last year over at the courthouse. You actually remind and what that discussion amongst you three and others has looked like, because where does that fall into this? Because I anticipate we're going to be approached about these things. So not quite sure how to address that. I'm curious.
I had someone from the library board suggested reading recreation. Yeah, that's not the fly.
I mean, I've kind of seen it that once we have these facilities locked down, we can support programs and events, within those. Yoga, they were looking. Or, art in the park or something, that's happening within the facilities that we identify and we're supporting. Events and programs that can happen there. So
Yeah.
I've kind of been looking at it as far as supporting.
Our mind's pretty wide open on some of those things. We had groups, we had the Mental Health Coalition come in, and Sarah White. If I didn't get out and but she came how we could help, sign it. And we said that was really good. So I think, you got to keep your mind. I think, and we money for that. That's why we need to bring it all in, because we all looking further.
It might be the silver lining of the facilities constraint, honestly, is that that's what keeps us focused. So if it is if it's just, trail building or something else, it's going to be harder.
Yeah. Cool.
One thing I heard from Allison that I just wanted to kind of share with everybody, because I know just how it just goes so fast. And it seemed like there was something I heard her say in terms of like, from this group being the fingers out into the community. I think that's a key piece to get from everybody is level, hey, have you thought about this? And it might even be, I don't know how these email blast, do we want to have a contact list that we're soliciting, everyone here's got over 20 names, Nick's going with 50, and Ray's already got. But just the idea of strategy on that outreach, just to make sure we're getting, that was something I heard she needed quickly. what we might want to schedule elsewise.
That I think giving our input into those is a good thing. Yeah.
Great.
Wildlife Committee, which I'm sure you read. I assume this group is going to be responsible for its own adherence to the open meeting law.
We will have, you are required to meet the requirements of open meeting law. We will work, we'll have Katie make sure that the meetings are properly noticed. And that the agendas are all put together ahead of time and properly
So
noticed.
Katie would handle.
Yeah, I'll have her do that.
So
So
noticing,
the noticing, it needs to be noticed on the building that you're at, needs to be noted if it's a regular meeting 48 hours in advance. And we note it on our website as our electronic version of that too, so. And through Facebook and
the minutes.
have whoever you guys select as the committee chair help define that then she'll help too, so help to put that together. Yeah. It's kind of cumbersome, but the open meeting laws, I think, they're for a good reason, and you just have to think about them and not,
Idaho has a kind of quick and easy digestible version, the Idaho Open Meeting Law Manual. And it's really a short read, and it has a checklist. And what was that presentation that you found last year too? That wasn't too bad.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll see if I can dig that forward. Yeah.
What the people want, so.
Yeah. We skied today. It was actually one of our early things on the agenda. So we can two people to kind of step up, one to be the board chair or the committee chair. And that person's responsibility really is just to lead the group's discussion and keep you on task. Vice chair would be when the chair's not there. So if anybody would like to volunteer. If not, we'll just tell people to. Yeah, nominate somebody. Yeah. But I mean, it really is, I think it's mostly just kind of running, asking questions, kind of like what I'm doing today, getting corrected by the others around me saying, which is okay. Any this group, where did and we're trying to get an office here, and hopefully this will be. We're not leaving until somebody steps up.
Really fun.
Yeah. Let me just tell you, it's the power you have.
Give us your best. Would anyone like to make a vote?
How we do it. Would anyone like to make a motion to nominate somebody? Advisory committee. We got a motion for a vice. Second the motion. Second the motion. We got a second. Vote of. Chair. Those opposed? Yeah, we got a vice chair. So you're for chair. He thought this was easy. Yeah. Yeah.
Has anybody done it before? Or does anybody lead meetings often?
All the time, but I'm just not sure if I can come to every meeting. The class like at night often, so that's my hesitation.
I'm here.
Okay. I can do it, I'm really good at running meetings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. A motion?
Yeah. Somebody want to make a motion? Yes, yeah.
Sure.
Would you like to make a motion? Let's do that.
I'm not driving the meeting anymore. It's you. You're in charge. Claire.
Okay, would anybody like to make a motion?
Sure, I'll make a motion to have Keely be the
Sure.
chair.
I second that.
We just two,
First and a second, then all those in favor?
all in favor? Anybody opposed? All right.
Motion
Madam-
passes. Yeah.
Yeah, got it.
We can all get you, though. The advantage of a committee like this is hopefully you never really have to follow Robert's rule of order. Controversial things, I would hope.
Unfortunately,
There you go. Well, cool. To accomplish tonight, just kind of get us together, get us started. Allison a little bit of where they're gonna drive things. Any thoughts, Sarah?
Well, guys, maybe there is a day during the week that you guys can sneak away for lunch. Best to figure that out when works best when the majority of people can be present.
with this, like a doodle poll,
Mhm,
but
yeah.
just like take a general. Go from there. Should we coordinate with Katie to do that? Perfect.
How frequently, I know we have these few meetings on here. Is a meeting, you know?
Pretty reasonable. Here, getting going. You need to make that decision, slow down. Starts coming together, you know, our budget, and we start getting things together. We want you guys' input on that for sure. Because you're feeding us, we want to feed it back. Definitely want you guys looking at that, you know, so. Excuse me, I think you guys kind of need to define what it is, but. I think monthly, and if you can, ideally, if you can set a kind of a regular time, that's really what works best from the open meeting law standpoint too. So, yeah.
Seems like Katie spent a bit of time zeroing in on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
We notice it as a special meeting for us. So if there's two or more of us gathered in official capacity. So like I was kind of picturing us, like Katie is gonna be available and then maybe rotate through and keep checking in.
Yeah, because we all bring our own different opinions and it's good to not just get mine. A lot of people will say that. Yeah.
So do y'all plan to rotate through them?
Yeah. Schedule.
Anything you want to add, Katie?
I hope you guys can hear me. No, I'm on board with whatever y'all need to do. Just coordinate with me so we can work on dates and times for the next meeting.
Good.
Cool. We all learned something. Like to make a motion to.
Motion to adjourn?